Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part of our leadership team series of webinars, and what we're going to talk about today is the online renewal process, how it looks for members stepping through the process if you've never seen it before, but also how it looks for the leadership team, because leadership teams do have to go in and approve those online renewals now through BNI Connect. So we're going to take a look at those processes here in today's webinar. That said, before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. First of all, if you are with me here today, February 16th, 2017, congratulations, you are on a live webinar. That means that as we're going through the process today, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, confusions, just voice them. The way to do that is to please click on the questions panel here in BNI Connect, and we will see that pop up on our screen, and I can answer it as we're going along. Of course, if you are listening to this in the future, that means you're listening to a recording, so you can still ask questions. The way to do that would be to please just email your question over to support@bniconnect.com. Again, support@bniconnect.com. So in addition to that, if you'll notice, there is a thing called handouts. In the handouts, I am going to put today's PowerPoint presentation. So if you would like a copy of that, feel free to click on that handout and download it. Or of course, again, if you're in the future, say hi to Marty McFly for me, and also please just email over your request for the PowerPoint attachment. So we do try to keep these webinars to about 30 minutes of content. Actually, this is one of our shorter webinars. We usually get done in about 20-25 minutes. That said, I am always happy to stay on these calls until every single question has been answered. So feel free to ask anything about anything you want to with BNI Connect. This is what we do all day, every day, as we talk about BNI Connect. We answer questions, we solve riddles, and correct problems in BNI Connect. So feel free to ask anything that you'd like. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at this renewal process in BNI Connect, and what it looks like for both members and for leadership teams. So just a quick review of the renewal process, and this is, yes, an oversimplified top level down view. So the process is a member completes their renewal application. So that's the same as the paper process. So that regardless, we have to have them fill out an application. Just so happens that we have that application available online now in BNI Connect. Next part of that process, the renewals review and approved. That's the same way we do it on paper now. It has to be looked at. We have to make sure we have a membership committee meeting about this person that is renewing to make sure that they're going to be continuing in the chapter and that they're still a good fit for the group. And then finally, that paperwork heads over to the regional office where they confirm the payment and finalize that processing. So again, that part of it stays the same as well. The difference is that rather than passing a piece of paper along, we're now doing that all electronically through BNI Connect. So let's take a look at this. Now, we're going to look at this from two different perspectives. This first perspective is from the members' perspective. And as far as the members go, this process really couldn't be any easier. It is, anybody that's ever bought anything online or filled out a form online, this really is a very straightforward process. So it consists of, basically, the member needs to begin the online application. And there's actually 5 distinct opportunities and or places for them to get started with the application. So the very first way that they could do this is by going in, and they should get a renewal email, a reminder, approximately 60 days before their membership is due. They get an email from BNI Connect saying, hey, by the way, your membership is up for renewal. Would you like to start that process now? Please click this link and go and fill out the application. So that's the first way. The second way is that most regional websites have a button on them that says Renew Now. They just go and they click that button and boom, they start the application process. The third way is that once you log into BNI Connect, right on your home screen there, you will see a Renew Now link, assuming that the renewals are enabled in your area. You just click that link and you start the application process. Finally, if you are in and editing your profile, there's a button in there right next to where your category and your chapter and your renewal date is shown. There is another button that says Renew Now. So there's 4 different places there. Now there's a 5th way. This one's kind of an optional one. If your leadership team pre-approves your renewal, you'll get another email saying, hey, congratulations, your membership committee has pre-approved your renewal. Would you like to start that process right now? And very similar to the renewal reminder email, there's a link in there that allows them to get started. So this is one example of what the renewal email may look like. Now, these are customized on a regional level, so yours may look different in your area, but you'll notice that it has, for example, the Renew Now link over on the left-hand side. They just have to click that and they can get started on the renewal. It also has a link within the email itself that allows them to renew online there. I also mentioned that a lot of regional websites have a button. Usually they put it on the left-hand column, so it's available on all the pages. But just a couple of examples of what it might look like. This is from the BNI Minnesota website. This one happens to be from the BNI Heartland site, and then this one's from the BNI Arizona site. So they may look different, but they all just point to the same place. All right, so let's take a look at this process. I'm going to log in as a member, and let's step through this process together. So I have a special region for doing testing. It's in Antarctica. It's called the Shiver region. And one of my members in the Brr chapter up there, his name is Marky Mark. So I am going to sign in Marky Mark here into BNI Connect. And what you'll see right here on the home page is the Renew Now button. So Marky Mark knows that he's due on the 1st of March because he can see that right here when he logs in. And, he wants to continue his membership. So he's going to continue by clicking on Renew Now. And what comes up is the membership application. So again, anybody that has ever bought anything online should be relatively familiar with how to fill out a form. And we do that. We can choose our 1-year or 2-year. That the memberships in Antarctica are fairly cheap. This is just my testing area. So we have our $3 or $4. You know what? I'm going to go for a bargain and go for the 2 years. Now I understand this is just a test membership, so we just need to go through and answer the questions. Now the questions in your area may be slightly different than the questions in other areas, but needless to say, they can answer those questions here, yeses and nos, and more information. Anything with an asterisk is mandatory or they can't continue, whereas other things may be optional. Now at this point, they can just click I've read and understood if they want to continue, but you'll notice there's also an option here. Check and update your member details. So this allows us to go in and make any changes necessary. You'll notice that some of those things have a big pound sign in red next to them. Those are special fields. And what that means is that they would be submitting a change to their membership along with their renewal. So if they wanted to change categories, for example, they have the opportunity to request a new category at this point, or maybe they're changing companies. They can change their email address and their phone number without really worrying about anything, but this is also gives them the ability to change some of those other details. If they do change any of those other details, such as their company name or their profession or their specialty, the leadership team will get a special alert that they would like to change this along with their application. It will not automatically change that for them. They would have to approve it and then go in and change it after the approval. So I'm going to say, you know what, Marky Mark, he would like to actually change his category here to, let's see, entertainment and musician. All right, so then he's read all of the general B&I policies. He's going to proceed to payment. At this point, he just has to choose how he's going to pay for it. If the region accepts credit cards, one of the options will be online card payment. There's also sometimes offline card payment, which means you might be paying through a different shopping cart or something like that, or maybe by PayPal, or you may be filling out a check. At that point, the instructions will appear for how to process that specific payment. For example, in Antarctica, if you have a check, we would like you to hand that over to Steve, and Steve will take that check from you. Some will also allow a proof of payment to be uploaded, so you could scan a copy of your check, for example, and upload that along with your submission. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. It says, thank you for applying to your chapter. You'll be notified when the membership committee has made their decision. You'll also notice that while it is pending, and as long as they've also made their payment, the Renew Now button has gone away. And that, my friends, is all there is to it from a member standpoint. And I'm telling you, this process is so much easier to maintain from a leadership team perspective, because now you don't have to wait until the chapter meeting in order to turn in your application. You could literally do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it's no longer, oh, you know what, I forgot the application on my desk. I'll bring it to next week's meeting. I'll bring it to next week's meeting. I'll bring it to next week's meeting. Now they can just jump online and perform that renewal anytime they need to. All right, so just to review, the member completes their renewal, they choose their payment, and there are notifications that do get sent out along with that process. So let's take off our member hat, put that aside. We are going to now put on our leadership team hat, and let's look at this from a leadership team perspective. A couple of things about this process from a leadership team perspective. An online renewal must also be approved online. An online renewal must also be approved online. Offline renewals or paper renewals, that still gets done through the paper process. Paper process, offline, online renewals also get approved online. You can do full conditional or even decline renewals. From a timing perspective, some regions will allow pre-approvals, meaning before they've even submitted their application, say, you know what, this member is going to be due in a couple of months. We know we want to accept them, so they can pre-approve that. Some regions you have to, and some regions you can't, the member can't even submit their application until they've been approved. Other regions may say, no, you know what, we're going to wait until the member has made their commitment and then we'll approve them afterwards. And most regions that are using this, it actually allows for both, either a pre-approval or a post-approval. From a regional standpoint, to any executive directors or regional administrators that are on the call, until the payment is made and the application is approved by the membership committee, only after those two things happen can you do the reconciliation process. So let's look at this from a standpoint of pre-approval. So there are two opportunities to pre-approve a membership. The first of which is the member, there will be a pre-approve link in the reminder email. So there is an email that goes out on the 21st of every month. So the 21st of every month goes out to every person on the membership committee, the vice president, the secretary treasurer, the director consultant, that says, hey, for the Burr chapter, here's the people that are coming up for renewal. Would you like to pre-approve them? And there'll be a link on there that says pre-approve. Alternatively, anytime they want to, they can go into the membership dues report, review the people that are up for renewal, and go in and pre-approve them. So let's take a look at this process quick. So for this one, I'm going to log in as one of my leadership team people. So let me log out. I'm going to sign out as Marky Mark. Marky Mark, thank you for submitting your application, but we need to now go in and do some approvals. So logging out, let me log in as one of my other good friends, Art Garfunkel. Now, Art Garfunkel is my vice president. Now, typically speaking, it's when we're doing approvals, whether they're pre-approvals or whether they're post-approvals, approvals are not a voting process in BNI Connect. Okay, you take your vote at the membership committee meeting. This, we're not changing that part of the process. That part of the process still must happen. You must meet after a meeting with your membership committee and discuss the renewals, both the submitted ones and the upcoming ones. All that we're doing in BNI Connect is we are recording the result of that meeting, which means that only one person goes in and does this. This isn't a voting. It's not each member goes in and submits their vote. It's just recording the outcome of the decision. So, as I said, there could be a link in the email, or they can go to the reports, and under the chapter reports, we have the membership dues report, and this is the report that the membership committee uses all the time to find out, when people are up for renewal. So what we have here is we have some people due in March. So we have Art Garfunkel, Rebecca, and Thea, who are all due in March. And you know what? I think I logged in as not my, oops, sorry about that. Art Garfunkel is not my leadership team person. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, it might be Alf that is my leadership team person, Alfred E. Newman. So give me a second. Let me log in as Alf here. And this is looking a little bit better because now when I go into the membership dues report, now I have the little red heads. So I can see that Art, Rebecca, and Thea are all due in upcoming months here. And you can see I have this pre-approve option here for the member renewal. So let's say that for, I don't know, for Art Garfunkel or for Rebecca, I can go in and pre-approve them. So let me click Art Garfunkel here. So what I have here is I have their name, I have their performance, so I can take a look at how they've done over the past 6 months. So this is a 6-month performance review. I can go into more detail by clicking on training details, and I will be taken to their profile, and I can see that Art hasn't really taken too many trainings in the past. I can see that he hasn't filled out his profile, and I can take a look through all of this other information as well. Doesn't look like he's really done much here with BNI Connect. He's been present 8 times. He's given a referral. He's received a referral. Been thanked for 5,000. So here is where we're going to now render our decision. By checking this box, I certify that all necessary performance reviews and discussions pertaining to this renewal have taken place. In other words, we had our meeting. Notice that this pre-approve button is not able to be clicked until I have clicked off that option certifying it. Now there's 2 other options here once I can select before I click pre-approve. One is that the approval is conditional, and the other is that an accountability letter has been sent. Now what does that mean anyway? Well, that means whatever you guys want it to mean in your particular region. So we're not going to track the terms of the probation or conditional renewal. That's really up to you in your region, in your chapters, to define what that means. If they have to hit certain performance parameters or attendance or whatever else it might be, that's the reason behind you putting them on probation. It's up to you to follow up with that. All we're doing here is making a note on their record that we did approve them with conditions, or that we did send accountability letters. So again, it's not the enforcement piece, it is only we're taking note of that. Going to go ahead and pre-approve, and as I had mentioned earlier, Art Garfunkel will get an email saying, hey, congratulations, you've been pre-approved. Would you like to go ahead and renew now? Awesome. So that's the pre-approval process. Pretty straightforward. Let's look at the post-approval process. So post-approval, so after a renewal has been submitted. So there's, of course, always multiple ways to do everything, and this is no exception. We have the renewal link on the application received email. So once a member has submitted their application and they weren't pre-approved, an email will go out saying, hey, membership committee, it's time to talk about this one and render your decision on this renewal. So there's a link in that email, and then also there is the renewal link in the applications pending screen. So let's take a look at those two ways. Well, the email is the email, but in BNI Connect, the place to find the pending applications is going to be in the operations menu. So operations, and we go to manage memberships, view pending applications. We can see Marky Mark here submitted his renewal. The status is submitted. We need to approve that now. So we can click this little arrow under approve, or we could click the submitted button if we want to. And this will take us, and you'll notice it looks pretty much the exact same as the pre-approval with a couple of minor differences. First of all, we have a copy of the application up here in the upper right-hand corner. So I can click on that. It will allow me to download a copy of that application and review it. I can either just review it, or if you want to, you can save this. You can print out a copy for your chapter records, whatever you want to do. We'll keep a copy permanently on the record itself. But if you'd like your own copy, you're more than welcome to take it at this time. You'll also notice that because Marky Mark made changes, you need to review that application. And if we look at this, it will show us also that his profession and specialty are now entertainment and musician. Once again, I can review their performance. Now, when I choose that we have had our necessary meeting, another button appears. We can approve it, and we can also decline it. One thing to note, if you decline the renewal, the member is not notified of that decision. You need to do that via the membership committee process. So we're not going to send a nasty email to the member. That is something that you do have to work through as a membership committee and use the accountability letters for that. That said, I'm going to go ahead and approve Marky Mark. From a regional standpoint, for the regional admins and the executive directors on the call, a decline will appear on your reconcile screen, and those would have to be voided in order to remove them. Or the denial can also be overturned if needed. All right, and that is the approval process. So, I mean, it's as easy as that. Membership committee receives the application, they review the member performance, they record their decision. Again, it is not a voting process, it is just a recording of the decision. And finally, the region reviews and reconciles the payment. So I mentioned that there's some email notifications, and there are some email notifications. There's a whole bunch of emails that go out that keep you informed of where we are in this process. So prior to renewal, here's the list of emails. We have the membership committee renewal, we have the member renewal, we have the member opt-out, and the member pre-approval. And again, there's a copy of this PowerPoint available for download. You can grab it right out of the handout section or just email me, and I will be happy to send you a copy of this. During the online renewal, as it's being processed, there's the renewal submission, the online payment, the offline payment, the renewal received, and of course, if they make any changes to those details, such as their category, a big notification goes out about that as well. And then finally, we have to have after the online renewals, we have the renewal approved. If the person had skipped the payment process, or if the region has it set to only accept payments after renewal, then after the approval, they will get a request for payment at that point. There's a couple of announcements, and notice that the decline announcement, the decline also does not kick them out of the chapter. They have the right to go through the rest of their membership, unless it's the decision to remove them from the chapter, but that would be done as a separate process. All you're doing is declining their renewal, not kicking them out of the chapter. If you're curious, if you're in a position, if you're in a leadership team position, you're wondering which of those emails you're going to get, here's a quick list for you. So with that said, we still have a couple of minutes till the bottom of the hour. I would like to open this up to questions. Does anybody out there have any questions for me? I'd love to answer those questions now. While you're thinking of any questions, just a reminder, this is being recorded. You'll be able to download it later from our support site or from youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. All right, do we have any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, confusions? How can I help you? All right, if there's no additional questions, I'm going to give you back 3 minutes of your day. I'm going to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I absolutely love conducting these webinars and having you learn more about BNI Connect. If you have any questions that you didn't think of now, just send them over to support@bniconnect.com and I'd be happy to help you out. Here's a couple of links for you. There we have our support site, our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, email. In the meantime, have an absolutely wonderful rest of your week and happy connecting.